Let me tell y'all a little story. It starts off February 9th, 2024. There was this one girl that changed my life forever. So basically, I met her during Spanish class, sophomore year of high school. And I did not know how big of an impact she would have on my life. It started all the way back in September of 2023, actually, when sophomore year began. I ended up taking Spanish 1 as a sophomore because the year prior to that I took German and my teacher sucked. Everybody failed that class, so I had to take Spanish 1 the next year. I chose that class because I already knew Spanish. So I ended up going, and on the very first day, I see this one girl in class, and she looked beautiful. She had these bangs and these eyes, and every time that I looked over at her, it was like I fell in love within a second. So the next day I came to class and I listened out for her name in attendance, and I ended up hearing it, and it was a unique name. I've never heard it before. And I ended up trying to find her Instagram or her Snapchat, and I found nothing. So I ended up thinking and contemplating for a while on what I should do. And I was gonna go up to her, but I ended up not doing that because that would have just been very awkward. So I ended up doing something completely random and just emailing her on our little school email. I had to think of something to say, so I waited for the right time, and she ended up getting her hair done the next week. So I took that as my chance, and I emailed her telling her that she had some really pretty hair. It looked very good that day, and she said thank you, and that let out a sigh of relief because I was like, well, at least she doesn't hate me. And I ended up waiting a little while later, maybe 2 weeks, and I ended up emailing her again telling her that her outfit looked cute, to which she would say thank you. And I took that as my shot and asked her, hey, you seem like a pretty cool person. Is it cool if we talk for a while, get to know each other? And she told me she was in a relationship. So I said, oh no, I just met as friends, lying to cover myself up. But I distanced myself because I wanted to respect her and him and their relationship. So I ended up talking to some other girls and tried to stay away from having feelings for her. And it worked for a while. I still thought she was cute, but we had a few small interactions in class, but besides from that, we were just nothing. So Christmas came around, and I ended up going to LA with my family, and we ended up spending New Year's there. And around that time, I was going through a lot of shit, and it was just the most overwhelming time of my life. And I was hoping to leave this all behind where I live and have LA be an escape, only for it to follow me over there. So I was sitting by a lake alone one day, and I was looking at the water, and I was contemplating on jumping in and never coming out. But then, as soon as I hit the water, I felt my left ear start to ring. And as a kid, I'd always think of that as a guardian angel sending you a message from above. And her face popped up in my mind out of nowhere from across the country. And I didn't know what to think of it because I hadn't thought about her in a while. So for this random girl that I used to like to pop up on my head on a moment like that across the country, I just felt like something was gonna happen when I came back. So I got out of the water and I flew over back to where I live, went back to school, and I forgot about that entire experience until one day we were sitting in class and I saw her looking over at me, and I didn't know why, but I had a suspicion that she was, I don't know, checking me out or something. But then I remembered she has a boyfriend, so probably not. And then I ended up seeing her the next day. We were waiting to get out of class. Me and my friend were at the door, and I said a joke, a very stupid joke, and I saw her behind my friend starting to laugh really hard at my joke, and that made me really happy. So I ran to my friend, I'm like, hey, I think the Spanish girl likes me, and he called me crazy for it, only for nothing to happen for a while. So a week goes by, and I end up thinking about trying again. And I end up planning it for a Friday. Now Tuesday, it snows really hard at night. So we wake up Wednesday, delayed opening, snows everywhere. And I was super happy. So Tuesday night, I went to sleep super late. And that night, I was scrolling on Instagram. And I ended up seeing her out of nowhere on one of my friend's story, and she was tagged, and I was like, is that really her? So I ended up finding her Instagram completely by accident, and I ended up following and then throwing my phone across the room out of fear, and I went right to sleep after that. The next morning I was brushing my teeth, I opened my phone up and I see not only did she follow me back, but she DM'd me, and I was too scared to read the DM. But I ended up thinking that she was gonna curse me out, like, why are you not leaving me and my man alone, or some shit like that. And I ended up thinking, oh man, I'm gonna get my ass beat. But I ended up opening it just to see her replying to one of my highlights about my cat. And I was so happy. And we ended up talking the entire morning. She asked me to sit next to me during Spanish. I was like, oh yeah, of course. And then she tells me about her and her man breaking up over Christmas break. And I'm like, that's really interesting timing. So I end up becoming really close to her, and we end up having feelings for each other. And I asked her to be my girlfriend on February 9th, 2024. And it was the first time that I ever felt this way about someone in a long time. We ended up dating for a year and a half, and it was beautiful. We went on dates. We had so many beautiful times. I got to meet her family. She met mine. They all loved each other. It was amazing. I even ended up getting a job with her dad. I still have it. But it was one of the best times of my life. And around Halloween time, that's where the downfall started. We started having a lot more fights, and they started becoming a lot worse. And every time she'd always tell me that she just wishes I'd be more understanding, and I'd always promise I'll change, I'll do my best, and I'd always try and change something in hopes that it would help her feel more understood and more cared for. And I thought it started working because we started getting better around January, February. But in May, we ended up having one fight that was super bad, and she ended up telling me that she just does not trust me anymore. And she talked to her friends about it, and they all thought that was toxic and manipulative because of her side of the story, because in her eyes, it looked like I never changed at all. And then that's when I found out what she really needed. And although I promised that I'd give it to her, that would not go through because she'd end up leaving me the week later. And we haven't talked since that day, but I really do hope that she is doing well and finds someone that treats her well. And I'm not bitter or salty about it, because at first I was super hurt about it. I would beg her to let me have my chance and understand what I was trying to say, but in reality, she had every reason to. But over time, over the summer, I went on a journey to improve myself. I started working on this album, and I dedicated to her because she's also the reason why music became such a big thing for me. Although I wanted to do this for years, since my freshman year of high school, I didn't start fully locking into it until last summer when I wrote my very first song for her, this song called Nicotine, and I dedicated it to her. And ever since that, it's been like an anthem of that relationship and my love for her. And it hasn't come out, but it's definitely still one of my favorite songs that I've ever made. And I feel that's going to be the case for a very long time. And hopefully one day, years down the road, after we both figure our stuff out, we can either be cool with each other or maybe just be friends or something, you know. But I really do hope the best for her, and I hope she knows that. That's about the end of the story. I don't think there is going to be another continuation anytime soon, but that's how life works. So she's going to find someone new. Eventually I'm going to find someone new. And all this will just be nothing more than a memory.